opponents of the provincial government's controversial housing legislation called this a Greenbelt Day of Action. More than 20 rallies were planned across the province today in the latest weekend of angry protests over the legislation. The province is also facing mounting opposition to the legislation from other areas. Sweeney has the story.
SPRAWL, you say bad. Ready? SPRAWL! SPRAWL!
Demonstrators lined Golf Links Road in Ancaster for Hamilton's latest protest against the provincial government's housing legislation.
See the Greenbelt, and we don't need to expand the urban boundary.
The people in Ontario do not want to see urban sprawl. They want to see the urban boundaries maintained, and they want their farmland and Greenbelt left as is.
The Ford government's Bill 23 would take land out of the Greenbelt and force Hamilton to allow housing development in some rural areas beyond the current boundaries of the city, despite its wishes. Protesters say the province is facing plenty of opposition.
We want to show that even a stronghold conservative area like Ancaster is definitely against destroying the Greenbelt and carving up our wetlands with Bill 23.
The opposition to Doug Ford's housing legislation is going far beyond the environmental protesters who've been out here speaking out every weekend for the past month. Municipal councils like Brant County have been expressing concern.
But they're $800,000, $900,000 homes, $1 million homes. That's not helping the people who really need the help.
Councillor Steve Howes says the government's bill could lead to high-priced housing that doesn't help affordability, but could leave municipalities paying for services like roads and sewers. He says it appears significant costs relating to growth would shift from the wallets of developers to the wallets of all taxpayers.
It has to be part of something bigger, I think, for the government to make a shift in its position.
Another councillor, John Bell, says municipalities have to get together to oppose the province. He calls the government's housing legislation democracy not at work, and tells CHCH the province is taking away the ability of local councillors to reflect the wishes and concerns of the local community.
It's only going to make developers rich, and it's going to create more urban sprawl.
While the protesters in Ancaster say Doug Ford's legislation is making more and more people angry about what the province is trying to do.
This has nothing to do with affordable housing. It has everything to do about bad planning. When I say bad, you say planning. Bad! Planning! Bad! Planning!
Along with individual municipalities like Brant County, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario says it has serious problems with the government's bill. It says taxpayers could wind up paying $1 billion a year in costs transferred from developers. The protesters say their demonstrations will continue tomorrow, then next weekend at Hamilton City Hall. Adam?